What's up, Rob here on the Old City Vlog channel with a little video on how I store and keep and freeze sand fleas. I was out on the beach today. Wasn't catching a whole lot of fish, so I figured there were some fleas around. Might as well grab a batch, bring them home, and start stocking up the freezer with sand fleas for bait in the winter, fall time when there's not a whole lot of fleas around. So, just starting out here with a pot of water, just regular tap water. I threw some kosher salt in it. You don't have to do that. I did it just because some people do, some people don't. I did it, and want to get the water boiling. And while it's heating up, I'm gonna go out here on the front porch and grab the bucket of fleas. I didn't get a ton of them today, and a lot of them were small. I was having a hard time finding bigger ones, so got a bunch of like medium to small. There's a few jumbos in there, but most of them are pretty small. And basically just have a strainer and a big pot, pan, whatever you want to call it, bowl, a metal bowl. So I'm gonna take the fleas out of the bucket. It's just got regular ocean water in there right now. And you want to pick out any shells or any debris that's in there, just because when you do freeze them, those will poke holes in the bags usually. So you don't want that. Ain't nobody got time for that. So you just basically want to get all the fleas out, kind of swish them around in the water, try to get most of the sand and the debris. Look, whoa, there's a bag of sinkers. How did that get in there? Who knows? Anyways, it got in there because I left them in there, and didn't have anywhere else to put them at the moment. But yeah, just getting all the fleas out of here, throwing them in the colander, the sifter, the whatever you want to call that white bowl there, and you want to get them all out of here. Like I say, try to get the sand and stuff off. I'm gonna take them in and rinse them as well. And like, why do I want to save sand fleas? Well, because when they're not around, you can have them. They'll store in the freezer if you do this method. There's a few different methods you can do. This is just one of them. But you can have them in the freezer, and they stay good. They stay pretty firm, and they'll keep for quite a while, for months. And I also use these for sheephead fishing. Sheephead love them. And anytime you go in the river or bays, whatever, where you're not on the beach, where you can't catch sand fleas, you have these, and saves you from going to the bait shop and buying them. So I was out there, figured might as well catch some fleas and bring them home. If I do this every few trips, by the time fall or winter gets here, I'll have quite a mess of sand fleas in the freezer, and I have bait anytime I want to go fishing. So, yeah, just basically rinse them off and try to get, like I say, try to get everything out of there as best you can. I'm gonna just hit them with some tap water here, and any residual sand or whatnot. Yeah, it's not gonna kill you if you skip this method or whatever. You'll just have a little sand in your bags. But hey, these things live in the sand, so no big deal, right? And the bowl that I'm going to use there afterwards, that's the bowl that we're going to cool them off. So that's important, that you have a bowl of water that you can, once you take them out of the boiling water, you're parboiling them, blanching them, whatever you want to call it. It only takes like a minute or so. And it depends on how many you put in there. You don't want to dump a ton of them in there to stop your water from boiling. But you want to try to blanch them as quick as possible, and they'll turn, just like boiling crabs or anything else. It's the same thing. They'll turn orange, and that's when they're good to go. So I'm going to take them over here. Got the water boiling, that salty water, and we're just going to dump them in there. And there's a few shells remaining. We'll keep those out of the mix. So yeah, you can see they're already kind of turning a little bit. If I had a little bit more light on the subject, that would help. Using the Osmo action camera on my forehead. I look like Dr. Gizmo or somebody. But yeah, you want to just put them in the boiling water until they kind of start turning orange, and then they are done. Get you a strainer, a spoon strainer, or whatever you have, so you can dip them out. And got a pan here, a bowl, metal bowl with a little bit of water in it, cold water right out of the tap. Gonna set that over here with colander in it. My sand fleas are starting. Another thing you'll notice, when you put them in, they'll sink to the bottom. Once they start getting ready, just like onion rings, they'll float to the top. Same kind of thing. You'll see them start floating to the top here any second, and as soon as they start coming to the top, I start dipping them out of there. Like I say, sand fleas are good they're great sheephead bait. If you like sheephead, that's one of my favorite fish to catch. They put up a good fight. A little sneaky to catch them, but they dig some sand fleas. So if you go out sheephead fishing and you have fiddlers, some kinds of crabs, maybe barnacles, a little bit of blue crab cut up, and then you throw some sand fleas in the mix, you're pretty good chances on getting some good sheephead with these different baits. Just like any fish, you got to kind of change it up. The more bait you have, the more selection you have, the better off you are going to be, because sometimes fish are going to eat one thing and not the other. You can catch them on shrimp one day, next day they don't want anything to do with shrimp. They're eating sand fleas or fiddler crabs or blue crab legs or whatever. So you get them all dipped up in here, dipped up right, and then you want to cool them off. So they're going in ice water right now, which is heating up. I'm going to throw some ice in it as soon as I get them all out of the pot here. And look at there, there's a crab in there. That's going to make a good little bait for, who knows, sheephead, redfish, drum, pompano, anything, we'll eat it. Didn't even notice I had a crab in there until right then. So yeah, you got them in the strainer now. Cool them off. Throw some ice in that water. Hit it with some new water, because that water you just put them in is already going to be hot. Just put them under the faucet, let them go. I'm going to dump the rest of them in here, because they all start floating to the top all at once there at the end. Smells like a crab boil in the house now, don't it? Look at there, a few shells left in the end of the bottom of the pot. So get that water cold. Don't turn it on hot like I almost did there. Get it cold and stop that cooking process. And your fleas are ready to rock. They're ready to be frozen. They're almost ready to be frozen. What you want to do after you get them done here, you get them cooled off and they stop cooking. There's a few different ways to do it. You can lay them out on a cookie sheet or whatever. Depends on how much room you have in your freezer. My freezer at the moment is pretty packed. It's got some fish in there and lots of steak and all kinds of meat, chicken, pork, steak. That's what you end up doing, packing your freezer out when you're on the carnivore diet. But yeah, you can eat sand fleas now too. They're little poppers. I hear they taste good fried. I don't know. Never eaten them, but I wouldn't be averse to trying them. They're just another little crustacean, right? But anyways, you can put them on a cookie sheet, lay them out, and throw them in your freezer and kind of freeze them for like an hour or so. Basically you want to try to get the most water off of them that you can. Here for me, I'm laying them out on a cutting board with some paper towels down there. Then I'm going to throw some paper towels on top of them, kind of move them around a little bit, try to get some of that water off of there. There's that Mr. Crab again. But you basically want to get the water off of them so you can put them in the freezer and they won't get any extra ice crystals. Some people put them in just Ziploc bags and put them in the freezer. That's a good way to do it. I'm going to use the seal a meal. I'm using the Outrigger contraption from Outrigger Outdoors. And I got that meal, whatever you want to call it, the sucky baggy thing. I got it a couple years ago from those guys, and it's been working great. It's a pretty good little seal a mealer, seal a bag of meal, whatever. You know what I'm saying. I figure I have enough here to do about 3 or 4 bags of bait. I want to keep them, I don't want to put them all in one bag because, I'm not going to use that much bait in one shot. I like to surf fish for, the last couple hours of incoming tide and maybe the first hour of outgoing. So 2 or 3 hours worth of bait, with the pompano are really on fire. You're going to use every single one of these baits and probably run out. And if not, hopefully the whiting are on fire, something like that. But sometimes you use all the bait, sometimes you don't. If you keep them on ice, keep them nice and cold, you can refreeze them. Not a big deal. It's not like you're going to be eating them. But I make up, 3 bags of sand fleas here. Parboiled sand fleas. And I have 3 nice little packs of bait to go fishing. That'll keep me in bait for a few hours on the beach easily, especially if I'm mixing shrimp or anything else in there with it. I usually fish with shrimp and sand fleas, and then I top it off with fish bites or sometimes fish gum. I like to change it up because every day the fish are eating something different, it seems. One day the fish bites will just be on fire. The next day it won't, and maybe fish gum is sometimes nothing but shrimp, sometimes nothing but sand fleas. So the more baits you have, the more variety you have. You just switch it around until you find out what they're liking to eat that day. And it's about putting fish in the box, right? Or at least catching them. I like to fish for food, basically. I don't really like fishing for sport. I don't like catching, all these sport fish and stuff and throwing them back. I just as soon catch a bunch of whiting or sheephead or whatever and take them home and eat them. I like eating fish, and that's one good way to do it. I know people love, going bone fishing and this and that. And yeah, it's fun. Catching tarpon's fun, all that. I would still rather catch something that I can eat. That's just me, though. Not condemning anybody else that just likes to fish for fishing and throwing them back. I like to throw them in my cooler, take them home, and eat them. So yeah, here's the vacuum bagger from Outrigger Outdoors, and basically just gonna throw them in there and seal them up, and then I will have nice little bags of sand fleas. You can have them just as easy as me if you go out and catch them. Like I say, I was on the beach today, and it was a catfish brigade. It was just one after the other after the other. I switched from shrimp to sand fleas, thinking I was going to slow it down. And no, the catfish were tearing up the sand fleas as well. So I got tired of catching catfish. I caught a couple of nice whiting, but Man, I don't know. I must have caught 30 catfish. It was ridiculous. So I just kind of turned it into a sand flea raking expedition. Figured I'd get some bait while I was there and come home with something because dang sure wasn't going to bring a bunch of catfish home. But there you go. Packed up, ready to go in the freezer. And bada bing, bada bang. Catching fish later on in the year when bait's hard to come by. So there you go. There you have it. How to parboil and store sand fleas in your freezer for when bait times are lean. Anyways, thanks for watching, and let me know how you keep sand fleas. Some people like to keep them in a saltwater solution. Some people like to freeze them. And this is just the way I've been doing it. So there you go. There you have it. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you later.